So the big question is this. Why well-being conscious women just like us who want to live healthy and happy life are constantly feeling vulnerable like, what if I get attacked? And so many people who teach self-defense are attack men or martial artists who don't seem to understand what women really go through every day. How can we feel safer and be more confident in our personal safety? That is the question, and this channel gives you the answer. My name is Kinko Hamilton, and welcome to Rise Up Against Violence. Hi ladies, today I have Demetra Bradley from Foxy Defense and Protection. I've come to know her through the Women's Self-Defense Summit in 2020, and she is an instructor for RAD system, which is a rape defense system. Also, she has 12 years of military and law enforcement training. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot from her, and it's such a pleasure to have you. Demetra, hello.
Hello, hi. How are you today?
Awesome. Very good. How are you? Thanks for coming to the show.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here.
yeah, so great to have you. Demetra, you have 12 years of military training, law enforcement training. What does it mean to you in terms of self-defense?
So, in terms of self-defense, it helps me because that was my first introduction into the martial arts side of things. I took combatives while in the military. I was in the army. And so we had combatives courses that we took consistently to make sure that we were proficient in knowing how to protect ourselves in hand-to-hand combat. So that was my first introduction in like martial arts, and then I didn't realize how important it was in the civilian side and the everyday portion of life until I was back home in Texas with my family and just started communicating with friends and going places and learning that a lot of the women and that I hung out with, they had no idea how to protect themselves. And some of the basic moves that I learned in the combatives courses were able to be transferred into real life as well. So I was able to learn how to protect myself just from what I learned in the military. I also kept up with that training by joining a local Brazilian Jiu Jitsu gym, and so we did kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu consistently, and I still do that now just to keep current on different things and keep myself up to date in learning those techniques.
Combat, you mentioned. So combat is you go into the combat knowing you must fight. You have to fight for you, your mission, and your team, right?
Yeah,
But in self-defense, that so you were going there to really, excuse my language, but beat crap out of the guy, just to,
right,
or you might have to terminate that guy, right?
right. But
So
I think that self-defense starts in the mind. You have to also know mentally that you can defeat somebody. So the combat starts with yourself. It starts in the mind for you to know, okay, even though this person is bigger than me, I can take them, I can defeat them. And that's how you win jujitsu matches. It's not the size of the person, it's the techniques that they're doing to defeat the other person that they're fighting against. So the same thing translates to self-defense out in the real world. You have to first know mentally, I can do this, I can combat this situation, and I am confident enough in myself and my skills to know that I can go home safely.
mm, yeah, so I can clearly see the combative training and law enforcement training really helped you. Demetra, can you tell us about the RAD system? I understand that's a rape defense system by law enforcement, correct?
Yes. So RAD stands for Rape Aggression Defense, and it's a systems of self-defense that's the method I chose to get certified in to teach because here in Texas, and it's also nationwide, but here in Texas, it is local. It is the only program that is certified to be taught on a college campus. And so a lot of the classes that I teach are to young girls or women that are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors in college, or high school seniors that are preparing to go to college. And so I am able to teach this system at the college level and also have a refresher course for the girls once they're there to be able to remember what they learned before they went to college or before an incident may happen. So it does stand for rape aggression defense, and that is what they emphasize in the training itself because that is something that is more common with that college age group of girls or age group of women. So rape, and then aggression, rape, aggression, defense. We have to be taught as women to be aggressive. That's not something that we're born with. We're born to be nurturers and caring and that sort of thing. So we have to be taught to be aggressive. And that's something that I've come across in my class as well. I have some women that'll hit our, I call it the bob because it's just, the mannequin thing that you punch
Yeah.
and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's called the bob. But when they hit that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I hit too hard," and it's like, "No, don't apologize. That's what you're supposed to do." So that is something that's emphasized as well in their system. So it is for what I got certified in is the basic instructor, and that's for what, like I said, the college girls and women teaching them. But they also have like one for senior citizens, they have one for young kids, and then they also have like a dynamic portion. So that's my favorite part is when you get to put on the gear and go through scenarios of real life situations. So that was another perk of practicing and getting certified under the RAD systems.
Mm. I mean, a college student, statistically speaking, one in a fourth or one in a fifth, the college students unfortunately become the victims of the sexual assault.
Yes,
This
because
parties
yeah,
and stuff
college
like that.
level. Yeah, between the age of 18 and 24.
Right. Absolutely. So it is such an important skill to learn for the girls. But does RAD apply for the boys as well? Do you teach boys too rape defense? I mean, just because you're boys, that doesn't mean you're safe, right?
Correct, correct. And you do have that option. I choose not to, just because I haven't had any interest in guys wanting to learn that from me. So it doesn't mean that nobody offers it, but I don't have that because I don't have an audience for it. So they do have a program for that as well, or you can teach the same thing just in a different manner to men. But yeah, it's very, very
Mm,
important and it's an option as well.
absolutely. Demetra, what are the critical skills for the younger woman to have before they go off to the college?
So the skills that I believe that college women should have before they go to college would be awareness. So making sure that you are aware of your surroundings, and that includes when you're driving, when you're walking in and out of places, and that sort of stuff. And then making sure that you're not looking down at your cell phone and not paying attention to who's walking behind you or right next to you or in front of you, because you can be attacked from the front as well, which you know. So number one is definitely awareness. Number two, I would have to say, is your presence. So how you present yourself to others, is your head held high? Are your shoulders back? And are you making eye contact with people? That's extremely important because you will have attackers that will say, okay, I chose them as my victim because they were looking down at the ground or they looked shy and they looked like they wouldn't say anything. So that leads me to my third one, which is voice. So using your voice as a weapon. Most people don't think of that as a possibility, but your voice is definitely a weapon. How loud can you get when somebody is in your personal space trying to take advantage of you? Can you get loud enough where others can hear you? Can you get loud enough to where the person that's attempting to attack you is like, oh, okay, I may not want to mess with her? Or can you get loud enough to, this is the day and age where the people are recording what's going on versus stepping in to help. So you want to make sure that you're on video saying, I told them to stop. I told them to get back. I told them to leave me alone. And I heard it on video. That's what you want. So
Mm,
those are the three things I really think that you should know before going to school is okay, I can look around and know my surroundings, be aware of my surroundings. I can use my voice and I can look presentable and know, look, make eye contact with people and that sort of stuff. So those are important.
mm. So causing scene is something that girls we are not used to do, right? We are trained not to cause a scene, be
Mm.
kind, and be gentle. So let's talk about this, Demetra. We let's say you feel threatened, and this guy's in your face, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you said to use your voice. So are we trying to use our voice to talk this guy as a wake him up? Hey, come on! Like you don't want this, right? Like try use our verbal skill to calm this guy down, or you just cause scene by being loud.
No, you need to calm him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you need to use your voice and express to that person, no, get back, leave me alone before they even come towards you because you don't want to engage. That's even though we teach how to engage and that sort of stuff, you don't want to engage. You want to get away as quickly as possible, as safe as possible. And the safest way is just not to engage with them at all. So to prevent them from engaging further, you use your voice and tell them to stop. You tell them to leave you alone. So
Right. Then the guy doesn't listen to you because he's already committed to do whatever he wants to do. What would you
right.
do?
And then that's when we go hands on and that's what we teach in the class. That's when we go hands on. If we're punching in the face, a palm heel strike, or if we're using our our strikes with the knees or kicking with our legs, or if we're whatever it is,
Mhm.
depending on how they come at you. If it's from the front, is it from the back, is it from the side? So those are things that we have to pay attention to. So that's where awareness comes in as well. So you'll know, okay, they're coming from that direction. Let me get my footing correct because if you're off balance, you're going to get knocked to the ground anyway. So, and you don't want to fight from the ground.
Yeah, but first, you don't want to fight against a man pound to pound. Anyways, I mean, let's face it, right? You practice martial arts. I practice martial arts. I train with guys because always have that. Like, if something happens, I have to go against the guys. So I
Right,
always train with the bigger guys, tougher guy, heavier guy, like twice the
right.
size, and I get beat up. But
Yes. But that's the only way we can learn.
right, absolutely. But then for those girls who never tried martial arts or experienced anything like that, right?
Mhm.
What are the skills, physical skills, that they can learn and they can practice at home? What would you recommend?
That's a good question. So I would recommend at least starting with a fitness gym. So in a fitness gym, you can take classes like kickboxing, or you can take classes which would be, similar to Muay Thai or something like that. If it's a martial arts skill, if you're looking for something similar, so I would say start with like a fitness gym and take some of the classes that a fitness gym will offer, and you'll be surprised that some of the moves and techniques that you learn for fitness will also transfer to a martial arts type skill if that's not what you're interested in, immediately interested in doing. So start with the fitness gym, learn some kicks, learn some basic punches, boxing, because that's very popular, like the UFC gyms for fitness. So learn some boxing, some kickboxing, those sorts of things, and you will be able to use those same skills for self defense.
So, what would you suggest for girls to emotionally train for that moment when that happens?
Ooh,
I understand the skill wise, right? You can do tech, no matter how much you train techniques, if you're emotionally trained for it, uh, your mind controls your body. So you freeze and you. I know that's for fact because I know a lot of friends,
right.
the girlfriends who have black belt and this and that and that, and they still one not able to protect themselves when that event happened. So
Right.
what can we do, the girls, to prepare themselves like emotionally?
Yeah. So this is going to sound really crazy, but in my opinion, you have to engulf yourself in those situations that make you fearful. That's the only way to be less fearful in those situations, because you will never be completely fearful. But if you know, okay, I've mentally have you I've mentally been in this space before, so I know how to control that fear on the inside and how to get out of this situation. And when I talk about that in my class, I like to play a clip, just a small clip from the movie Enough with J Lo. Yes, so in the movie Enough, J Lo is she puts herself in those situations where her trainer is telling her, okay, this is what's likely to happen, and puts her in that space of somebody bigger and powerful overpowering her, and what is she supposed to do to be able to combat that situation. So you have to mentally and physically put yourself in those spaces that make you uncomfortable to learn how to control your emotions when in that particular moment. So we've done that in law enforcement as well. We have scenario based training um, that are full of what ifs. So what if this situation happened? This is how you would defeat the person in this situation. So yeah, you have to immerse yourself within those uncomfortable situations in order to mentally know, okay, I can withstand this. I've done this before, or I've been in something similar to this before. Even though it's in a training environment, you know how to mentally get yourself out of it safely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Scenario-based training is such an important part in self-defense. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the missing point in the industry, Demetra. You mentioned that in your interview form, the real goal is to execute in a manner to go home safely. But current self-defense industry is really focusing on making sure that a student is doing the techniques in the right way.
hmm So I think that just from some classes that I've taken in the past, that it's more of a let's make sure that you're hitting correctly. Let's make sure that you're kicking right here at the A frame, and make sure that you're making contact with this part of the body. That's all fine and dandy, especially if it's going to be in a competition that's in a ring where it's controlled environment, in a controlled environment. But in real life, you're not going to be able to make contact with the perfect spot on somebody. So you're not going to say, okay, let me wait for them to stop moving their head from left to right so I can make perfect contact with the nose, with the palm of my hand, and da da da. Da. So you're not going to be able to do that. So I think it's important for instructors to teach their students the areas to aim for, but also let them know that you may not always hit that part because it's a dynamic situation. So it's going to be people running around, it's going to be you and this person. They're not going to wait for you to hit them and then you hit back and then it's tit for tat. It's not going to be like that. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in when people take those type of classes and think, okay, this is how it will be in the real world, and it's not. So we have to make sure that we are reminding people when things go bad and they go bad quickly, you have to go in hard. And my goal is one and done, where I can punch them hard enough, kick them hard enough, bite them hard enough, whatever, just one time to get them to leave me alone so I can escape that situation safely. So I think that's extremely important. Just knowing that, okay, yes, I can have this training, but I also need to know that it's not going to be like this in the real world.
All right, so Demetra, what kind of realistic trainings can we do solo at home?
Ooh, solo at home. Well,
Right,
since the pandemic has hit,
right.
most of the classes have been virtual.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit tougher to teach those type of classes, but it's also easier because everything that you're learning, you are now able to do on your own at home or with a partner at home. So solo, I would say make sure that you are practicing what you're learning in the mirror. So some good palm heel strikes, some good um, like shadow boxing. That's what we call it the martial arts world where you're doing things by yourself. So, and you're looking at yourself to make sure you're doing it right. So let's do some good palm heel strikes in the mirror. Let's do some good kicks in the mirror, or you can use like, I say a tree because that's what I've used, but that may not be effective for you because it's stationary and it doesn't move and it's big, right? So that works for me at home. It's using a tree to practice all of these things on, and I can move around it because it's circular, so I can move around it and get my footing and all of that good, and do it over and over and over again because that's the only way that you remember something is to consistently do it. So if you do get in a self-defense class or martial arts class, whichever one you choose to do, or if you decide to do both, make sure you do it consistently because that's the only way you're going to remember it.
Yeah, repetition, repetition, repetition. And yes, absolutely. Visualization is super helpful.
Yes.
So, Demetra, you practice Krav Maga, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have a lot of questions about Krav Maga in terms of techniques. So, well, first of all, tell us what Krav Maga is, just in case the audience doesn't know.
Okay. It's it I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It is Israeli version of defense. So it is taught. Well, I first learned it through law enforcement. I had never heard of it, even though I had practiced Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and other martial arts in the past. I had never heard of it, but it is extremely rough and it is extremely effective because it is the closest that you will get, in my opinion, to self-defense training. So my curriculum is made up of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Krav Maga techniques that are simplified for you to use quickly and effectively.
Hmm. I have a question for you. Because I've watched a lot of Krav Maga videos. I have not practiced Krav Maga. I've watched a lot of videos, and I'm sure any styles that you practice, martial arts, any styles,
Hmm.
really depends on the instructors, and because what the philosophy does not really pass on to the next generation, right?
Right.
Really depends on the instructors. However, I've seen a lot of mistakes and the not realistic applications of knee kicks in Krav Maga. For example, the one of the things that I saw is somebody grab you from rear, and
Hmm.
this person was saying they could kick the groin, okay?
Uh-huh.
Or if somebody's dragging you, right, and take that. If somebody's dragging that you've been dragged, and get closer and the clinch and knee and stuff like that. It's just not it doesn't physiologically make sense. And I'm telling you, sharing this with you because I've actually done those techniques to see if they really work. And I realized that just come to know in my experience, just those techniques that I tried didn't work. So obviously it is a great system because many people practice that, and you said you learned that in law enforcement,
Right.
uh,
Right. So
right?
that's why I said that my curriculum is based off of some of those techniques because I found that like those ones that you just mentioned, they're a bit harder to get effectiveness out of. So when if somebody is grabbing you from, did you say the front or the back?
Oh, rear hug. So
The
somebody
rear
comes
hook.
from the
Okay.
back, yeah.
So it's like so if
Mhm.
somebody is grabbing you from the rear, you're gonna be off balance trying to kick them in the groin with the foot, right?
Well, first of all, you can't reach the groin, okay? You
Right.
cannot kick the groin,
And
and
that's why you're gonna be off balance.
yeah,
That's not
exactly.
effective. It's not realistic. So
No,
that's
why would
not
you give up
going
your
to
leg?
help.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so that's not going to help you, right?
Right.
So in my class, I teach you if somebody is grabbing you from the rear, you're gonna grab with your hands first.
Exactly. Grew right in there, right?
Yeah. So even though your hands, if they're grabbing you where the hands are under, their hands are under your arms or on top of your arms, you still have your hands available to grab those manly pieces and go to work there.
I
So
like how you expressed that. Manly pace has never heard it, but that's exactly what it is. Yes.
so yes, that's what I teach is to grab with your hands first. And then once that grip is loosened because it may not be completely broken yet. Once it's loosened, you can get your footing to be able to turn around and then do some damage there if you're
But
deciding to do a kick, a front kick, or if you're deciding to punch in the face or on the body somewhere.
yeah,
So
I
that's
mean, if
what,
it's this close though, it's a close range, so it's gonna have to be elbow or
yeah, yes, yeah, very much so.
yeah.
And then when you were saying the grabbing, oh yeah, the grabbing, where it's the teaching the clinch like that, and to bring them in and go to work like that. So that's the clinch that you're talking about. That's not going to be effective again for strength wise. So when somebody is stronger than you have to figure out what techniques are easily available. So in my class, I also teach that if somebody is trying to grab you, use your body weight to go to the ground. So just fall, go ahead on and fall. And I teach you how to do some ground fighting and how to get back up quickly once you're done kicking them from the ground. So that's my opinion on a couple of those moves. But some other Krav Maga things that I do teach that I think are effective would be like the choke holds. Have you seen any of those?
I've seen many of them, but yeah, share with us.
Yes, so I think that if somebody is choking you, and you're up against the wall and they're choking you, the techniques that they're teaching on how to use your arms to swing out and go in the opposite direction, I think those are effective in learning Krav Maga. So some things are good and some things are bad. You just have to know what to pick and choose from that particular discipline that will help you in whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's very important to, one of the things that I really dislike about self defense industry is that people are like, oh, this is the best, this is the best, and this is the best.
Right.
I'm like, listen, I mean, yeah, that one may work for you if your attacker is the same size as you, or perhaps smaller. Right? If your attacker is smaller, which is not likely in real life, you can do all sort of things before you even swing your arm. But if your attacker is like, I am 5'4", okay, I'm 5'4", 110 pounds. I'm talking about like realistically, right? Realistic
You're
situation.
gonna have a 6 foot.
Yeah, 6'4". He's six
Yeah.
four, and his brother is 6'5". Okay, I can
Yeah.
even reach his shoulder, and this guy is choking you. Yeah, good luck with trying to do this with his gigantic arms pushing you down. Right? There are other there are other ways to, you know, more probable way to for you to get away from it. So
Mhm.
this is the whole point of doing this show. I wanted to do this show and also Women's Self Defense Summit because I just wanted to go against those. This is the best system. This is the best. This is the best. Those like egotistic, systematized
Yep.
thing. I'm like, come
Yep.
on.
I think it is extremely important for you to choose what's effective for your size, for your weight from different types of martial arts or self-defense systems. So as long as you know what works for you and you're trying it out and you're remembering what works for you, I think you'll be effective.
Yeah. Okay, Demetra, I want to ask you about the Women's Self Defense Summit because that's how we met. And you
Mhm.
mentioned that you learned a lot from the summits. Could you share with us what you learned from the summit?
Well, not just mental or physical things that I learned from the summit. I learned the business aspect of things from the summit. So it may sound a little weird, but I was able to learn like, okay, maybe these are some of the things that I should put on my website to help people understand what it is that we are providing, because in my mind, I guess since I have the military background for so long and law enforcement for so long, I feel like some things are normal or that you would already know or common knowledge type things. And I realized that that's not true. And I realized that from the summit of listening, um, in the summit, these are people that are, again, other experts in self defense in different areas of self defense, different disciplines of martial arts. And they are going back to the basics of telling you what the martial art is, how it's important, how it's effective in situations that you will use that, and how you can continue to practice that or keep up on that skill, and those sorts of things. I was like, okay, maybe I should go back and figure out what it is I need to tell people for them to understand why they need this skill set or why it's important on a day-to-day basis for them to learn this particular thing. So I greatly appreciate that. I would have never have thought about a women's self-defense summit. So yeah, that was very informative for me.
Good to hear. Yeah, women's self-defense is for, I created the summit to, bring the experts together, obviously, so that everybody can learn from each other, right? It's like
Right.
on demand kind of thing. And
Yeah.
also, I wanted to challenge the industry by busting the myth and the things that are actually not actually putting women in danger. So like it's kind of I wanted to make it as a wake up call to the industry. But this year I'm gonna host again in September. So
Oh,
I hope you can join us again.
yes.
We are wrapping up this interview, and the ultimate question that I have for you is this: what can we women do to overcome what if I get attacked fear?
To overcome that fear of getting attacked is being prepared, not scared. And that's my motto for everything on my website. As soon as you log on, you'll see that. That is my be prepared, not scared. That is the only way for you to lessen that fear is to do something to be prepared. So take the class, even though you may think, oh, I may not be good at it. Um, Take the online class and buy the pepper spray or buy the stun gun if that will make you feel more comfortable and learn how to use those effectively. So they won't be used back on you in a attack type situation. So just do what it is that you need to do to prepare yourself. So yeah, sign up for the self defense class, sign up for the martial arts class. A lot of places will give you a free class to make sure that it is something that you're interested in and wanting to do and wanting to learn. So take advantage of that. And then talk to people who you communicate with regularly and maybe encourage them to do the same thing. That way, once you do start taking the class, you'll have somebody to practice with. You'll have somebody that also knows the same thing that you know, and you can protect each other if you're out and continue that cycle of teaching other women. So teach your mother, your sister, your daughters, your best friends, and your church members, and just continue to teach in that manner.
Right on, absolutely. All right, Demetra, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day. I talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Would you like to get the devices from the world's top self-defense experts? If so, go in and get your pass from www.womensselfdefensesummit.com.